Your cranky history teacher has recently been revealed as immortal. The reason they are angry is because they have to teach according to the texts when they know what really happened. One class he has had enough and begins to answer people's questions about what truly happened in history. Alec looked at the rows of students. He said, Kalanos died according to his wishes, by self-immolation. Rather than die an invalid, he chose to be burnt on a pyre with his master's reluctant blessing. They say he made no sound, that he burned in silence. One of his students, Adam, spoke up without raising his hand first. I call BS. The man was on freaking fire. Alec walked up to Adam's desk and looked at him for a moment. He was going to say something, but thought better of it. He breathed carefully and said, We shall meet in Babylon. That's the last thing he uttered on this earth. It wasn't until Alexander the Great later perished in Babylon that it became clear what he meant. Susan raised her hand. Alec said, Yes, Susan? Susan said, How did he die, Alexander? I mean? Alec shrugged. Numerous theories exist. The most prominent is that he died of influenza. Others say he died from drinking too much. Joshua asked, What do you think? Alec fell into silence. His eyes seemed to be looking at something beyond the classroom. He smiled and answered, My money's on influenza. Seems the most likely. It was like the room collectively sighed in silence all at once. He had disappointed them with his answer. What was he supposed to say? How could they understand when he barely did himself? Probably died screaming like a little girl, Adam told Joshua. Alec slapped Adam before he could control himself. It was so hard his hand prickled and became red and sore, though not as red as the mark his hand imprinted on Adam's face. Adam staggered up from his chair, shouting, What? What the hell, Professor? Alec was furious. He said, He was a greater man than you will ever hope to aspire to, Adam. Christ, you are useless. Adam continued, I'm going to have you fired over this, loony. I watched him burn, Adam. The sweet and burnt fumes of his skin is something that I'll never forget. He was silent for the whole burning. If only you could hold your tongue half as well as he. The bell rang and the students began to file out of the room, snickering and whispering. Adam turned around one last time. You're finished here, you hear me? Finished! Later, Alec sat down in his office, a meager room with a writing desk, 3 chairs including his own, a shelf for his most important-looking books. Behind the desk, there were 2 large windows with green drapes at the sides. He pulled out a drawer from his desk, retrieving a leathery flask. He coaxed the wine out of it and regretted slapping Adam. Well, he could always move somewhere else, if it came to that. Could probably get away with a warning, first offense and all. There was a knock on the door. Before he could hide the flask, a man in a brown winter jacket stepped in. This is where the great teacher Alec resides, yes? There was something familiar with this person. It almost looked like... He shook his head. Perhaps not so great anymore. How can I help you? The man smiled broadly, revealing what appeared to be well-practiced laugh lines. I was just here to leave you this. He put down a white envelope on Alec's desk, the red wax seal facing upwards. He started for the exit. Alec frowned and said, Could have just dropped this off in a mailbox. Why come to my office? The stranger stopped by the door. Can't trust the mailman with this? He turned around and smiled again. Big fan, by the way, he said before leaving. Alec inspected the outside of the envelope for a moment before putting it back down. He finished the wine and waved away the specter of Kalanos. We shall meet in Babylon, he sniffed. Liar.